Hello, this is Gavin Young.
Hi, my name is Jack Myers.
Hey, I'm Greg Carr II. We are
One.
Mike.
Trio.
All right, guys. Episode 7. Greg, interesting fact.
Interesting fact of the day. Did you know that Erling Haaland, Manchester City striker, currently is on track to shatter the Premier League goal record of 34 goals. He has 17 goals in just 10 games this season. He still has 27 left to play.
Wow.
He is projected to score 69 goals.
Insane.
Mhm.
Wow, Greg. I really feel enlightened after that information.
For those of you who don't know, I'm a very avid soccer fan, so I'm probably going to be hitting you guys with more soccer facts.
Oh, dear Lord.
Alrighty, well, to start off this podcast, we obviously wanted to talk about fall break. We just had it. We're back doing podcasts for Mondays and now Wednesdays. We switched it up a little bit for you guys, so videos will come out Wednesdays and Fridays. That's the plan, at least. So yeah, we got a little bit more of a schedule now for you guys. So, hey, fall breaks. How did it go, guys? You guys have more than I did, so let's get into it.
Gavin, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, I am sick.
Ew.
Do not feel good. Partially that's because of what I did over the weekend, but also
What
I've
did you
not
do?
felt good for 2 weeks.
What did you do?
So I went to Columbia, Missouri to go to see Mizzou's homecoming. That was a time because it was crazy. The first night, so I went Thursday through Sunday. Thursday I just made Jello shots with my friend, and then we went to bed watching Love Is Blind season 3, which is pretty good. Not gonna lie, not gonna lie.
Shout out to Love Is Blind.
Do enjoy it. Love Is Blind sponsor us. And then on Friday we went to a nightclub called My House, which it was their grand opening, which was fun. It was too expensive for what it was worth, but it was still a lot of fun. I didn't get like too turned up that night, but then Saturday all bets were off. I was gone by 8 p.m. and I was up at least until 1:30.
Dang.
So it's a wonderful time. I saw some people that I haven't seen in several years. Hung out with a lot of people that I've missed a lot. So, I mean, it was my first time out since probably the beginning of the semester. So it's been about 7 weeks. So yeah, quite a time. Now, Mr. Greg over here, I heard that you did some line dancing.
Oh my gosh, we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my fall break was an experience. For those of you who don't know, which is basically all of you, my childhood consisted of half city life, half country life. I was half raised in the city and half raised in the country on a farm, believe it or not. And this weekend I got in touch with my country roots, and I took a trip to Nashville with my best friend Will. Shout out Will. And we visited his family. His brother was playing in a Friday Night Light football game, and it was pink out. So we did that. We took place in all of the activities. Then Saturday, we kind of just chilled. We bowled. We bowled at one point. We bowled 2 games, and it depends on who you ask. But I did lose the first game. The second game was up for debate. I definitely won the second game. However, the bowling alley's like personnel was being like super weird, and we only bowled like 8 frames, and I was ahead by like 2. So I counted as a win. And then after that, we went line dancing. We went line dancing. And boys, when I tell you that I have never danced that hard in my entire life, I I made dents in the floor. I made dents in the dance floor. That's exactly what I did. So we went to this place called the Wild Horse Saloon, and we just line danced our hearts out for a couple of hours. I have a couple of stories about this line dancing extravaganza. There was this lady named Nicole. She was our line dancing instructor, and she came down and line danced with us. And we had been dancing for a little while, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're like really good at this. You're a natural." I'm like, "Yeah, I took a course in high school." So
Brush his hair back behind
Yes,
him.
I'm
like,
basically pro.
I took a course in high school. But on the more funny side, after the very first dance of the night, right, guys? I'm coming off the floor because I need some water because I know I'm going to be back out there so quickly. I come off the floor, right? This table of moms, they were like, "Oh my gosh, you dance so well. Can you like teach us a few steps?" I was like, that's what Nicole is for. Thank you. That's what Nicole is for. But thank you for appreciating my dancing. And then when I got to the water cooler, right? It was like at least 7 tables back away from the dance floor. So it was like a solid distance. This dude reached out his hand to me, and I was like, "Oh no, am I getting stopped?" He was like, "You bring rhythm to line dancing, my brother," and he dapped me up. He was like, "You bring rhythm to line dancing, my brother," and just dapped me up. I was like,
Oh, Greg.
Thank you. So, and then me and Nicole, we got to do a little line dance together. So that was really fun. Shout out to Nicole. It was her birthday on Saturday. Loved your boots, by the way. They were so sparkly. Yes, shout out to Nicole. But yes. And then on Sunday, me and Will woke up at, I'd say 7:15, hit the road because we had to be right back here for rehearsal. Mm-hmm. And that is how my fall break went. I became a certified cowboy.
Oh my lord.
Alrighty then. Well, I mean, mine was pretty just plain simple. Obviously, Thursday we went to the pumpkin patch, which was underwhelming to say the least.
Okay, so I enjoyed the pumpkin
I
patch.
enjoyed it, but
This, Sabrina and Maddie did not have as much fun as we did.
yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. Well, now the pumpkin patch that we went to, Greg, now serves little kids more than what the audience used to be, which was like, some kids, but mostly teens and adults.
Right.
Oh my gosh, their corn maze was just dead. Like, it was just dead. Like,
It's dead.
yeah, like all the corn looked so dead. And it's probably because it's not like, the perfect weather for the corn maze, but still, like, it's kind of upsetting that this is like your best time of the year to, really sell that, and then it just looked so. But you know what?
It was kind of gross, and there was like a bunch of holes in it.
Yeah.
And I was
But
like, I'm gonna break a leg.
It's been there for so many years, but it just was a little bit of a letdown. But when we came back, we did watch. Well, you didn't get to watch Hocus Pocus 2. We did watch Hocus Pocus 1 together, and then myself and the 2 other girls watched it later. So honestly, it was still a really good night. I had fun. I think the movies were great. And then pretty much Friday I was home alone. Just got to do whatever I wanted. Saturday and Sunday I had work, but Sunday night I was able to hang out with my girlfriend again, and we watched the first Halloween Town. So that was pretty great. I mean, that's pretty much sweet and simple, but I mean, I needed those 4 days. Let's be honest. We all needed those 4 days.
We all did.
We were all getting burnt out. It was just obvious.
It was not fun.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I was better before fall break, and now I'm just kind of like,
Oh, I wish I had more.
You don't also feel as very, very good, so that counts against it.
fuck off. But it was a wonderful time. I enjoyed it. But yeah.
So pretty much good plans for fall break, which is great. So now, next segment, Gavin, do you want to lead us in it?
So, since it's Halloween Eve week, we have decided that our one topic of the day is going to be scary storytelling. So, we picked a few scary stories to tell you guys on the podcast, just so you guys can get a little bit of the spooky season vibes and such like that. Because we've already told you our Halloween costumes, besides Greg, which is fine, I guess.
Okay, well, in exchange, I will give you a bonus fact.
What's the bonus fact, Greg?
The bonus fact involves all three of us.
I'm concerned.
On October 28th, upcoming, this week, this Friday, we will be marking the 1-year anniversary of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Oh my lord.
Effectively the show that brought us all together.
It really did.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh my lordy lord. But yes, so who wants to go first?
I probably should, since I'll have to leave.
Okay.
Mine's like a sweet. Was like well, I got class, sir.
Boo.
You want me to skip my class and get a bad grade?
Yes.
Yes.
I will.
Sacrifice
Sir,
for the
we
podcast.
had 2.4 thousand people
I know.
be
Did you
impressed
see that?
Yeah, I did
by our
see
YouTube. They did not watch it. So if you guys have friends that would like to listen to a new podcast, you should shout us out. Rate us, like us, subscribe to us,
Follow us, do all the
follow
things.
us.
Do all
We got
the
a TikTok
things.
and Instagram now, I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
We'll be posting stuff soon, probably this Wednesday, I think.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're all on social media. You can follow all of us.
Yeah.
Send your support.
Mm-hmm.
Leave a nice comment. A nice comment down below. A very nice comment down below.
Why are you emphasizing the nice so much?
Oh, no reason. Just a nice comment would be lovely.
A nice comment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Joe Hansen,
So
take us away.
Apparently, these are really short and simple, like scary. Supposed to be like ghost stories that will send shivers down your spine. So this one is called The Phantom Patient, and apparently it was by a Reddit user, which, I mean, I really won't call them out because we don't want to do that. So they say the ambulance company that I used to work for had a haunted, in quotation marks, ambulance. A lot of EMTs had stories about it, but I never put much stock into paranormal stuff. That is, until I had my own experience with Rig 12. My partner and I were working in a rural community at 3 a.m., and it was pitch dark and completely quiet. We were both dozing. I was in the driver's seat, and she was in the passenger seat. I woke up to a muffled voice, but I thought my partner was talking. I told her I was trying to sleep and closed my eyes. I distinctly heard a male voice say, "Oh my God, am I dying?" Followed by a few seconds of heavy breathing. My partner and I sat up straight and looked back into the patient compartment, where it sounded like the voice had come from. Things were quiet for a couple seconds, then we heard the click of an oxygen bottle regulator and a hiss, as if it was leaking. I turned on the lights and we ran out of the rig. I thought a transient might have climbed in while we were asleep. So we opened the real doors. No one was there. I checked the engine bottles. Neither were opened. We didn't sleep much after that. So, yeah.
Pretty good.
Meh.
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 Why meh?
Well, Gavin, I love the holiday Halloween, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But Gavin, I don't get scared.
Oh. Do you at least believe in ghosts?
Do I believe in ghosts?
That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole other. You should save that for another podcast.
What other podcast are we gonna do, guys?
Next
This is the
week.
Halloween one.
This is true.
True.
Technically, this is our Halloween. No, because Monday is Halloween.
Monday is.
I know, but it won't go out until Wednesday.
That is true.
Well, they'll just have a little Halloween special. We can talk about it next week.
Fine. Fine.
But I'd stand by what I said. I don't get scared
Okay.
easily.
That's fair.
Would you like me to go next, or do you want to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
I'll go next. This story is entitled "It Wasn't a Little Girl." I was camping with my husband and his family at a small remote lake in New Mexico. There were about 10 people in our group and another group of 6 people in the next campsite. It was nighttime, and both groups were doing typical activities, making s'mores, having a few drinks, and telling stories, when we all heard what sounded like a little girl yelling out for help. Neither group had children with them, but we were all positive we were hearing little girl and decided to search the area we heard the noises from together. There was a field behind our campsites, and we all saw a very tall, pure, white figure standing maybe 100 feet away from us in the field, making the noises. We all agreed this thing looked maybe 6 feet tall, skinny, and as white as can be. We made our way closer to investigate, but whatever it was that we started backing off as we got closer, and it disappeared into the trees. All night, we continued to hear a little girl calling for help as we tried to sleep.
So Slenderman.
Dang it, Jack.
A female Slenderman.
Yeah.
It
was pretty good.
It wasn't a little girl.
It wasn't a little girl.
Honestly, when I get tired like this on Mondays, I'm just like, nothing affects me. Like, it's scary and I know it is, but I'm just like, I'm dead.
No, I could read scary stories all the time. I like the fear of it because it's like an adrenaline rush, but I loved it. Okay.
All right, Gavin. Let's see what you got.
Mine is about skinwalkers, and it's entitled "Maybe Trying to Hit It Wasn't the Best Idea." This one's a little bit longer though.
Oh, please, by all means.
My father owns a small delivery service that operates out of Farmington, New Mexico. We mostly deliver small packages out of the middle of nowhere that are too much of a hassle for a larger delivery company to bother with. My dad is the only employee, and we have a few pickup trucks and a trailer. One day, we get a delivery out of Window Rock, Arizona, on the Navajo Reservation, about 2 hours from Farmington. My dad gets the call for the job while he is chilling with his Navajo friend, Travis, and his girlfriend. Travis mentions he's got a family in Window Rock that he hasn't seen in ages and suggests they go with him. It was about 6 or 7 at the time, and it was the summertime, so Dad decided we'll go down together so he can do his delivery really quick. Then, while Travis sees his family, we can go check out the Window Rock, big rock face with a large hole in it that goes on the other side. Pretty cool. we had a convoy in separate trucks since my dad's was loaded with the freight. We decided to bring along some walkie-talkies so we could communicate with one another. We spend our time in Window Rock. Everything is generally uneventful, and we start heading home along the old highway with my dad and I in front and Travis and his girlfriend in their truck behind us. I honestly don't remember most of the Window Rock trip, but this next part I can never forget. We're somewhere on the highway between Window Rock and Gallup, New Mexico. It had just rained earlier in the day and the road was kind of slick, so we were taking it pretty slow. On the left of the highway, there's nothing but sandstone cliffs, and on the right there is a huge field separated from road by a small barbed wire fence. We crest the top of this hill, and down at the bottom of the hill we see what appears to be a very large dog sitting on its haunches in the middle of the road, facing the cliffs. My dad calls over the radio, "Hey Trav, do you see that big-ass dog?" Travis starts yelling over the radio, "That is not a dog, speed up right now and hit it." He sounds almost hysterical. He just keeps screaming it, "Hit it. JJ, you have to hit it. Please, please hit the fucking thing right now." So my dad starts to speed up, and as we get a bit closer, I can begin to see it a little more clearly. It's covered in this brown, wiry, matted hair that appears to have dried blood all over it. It's still facing the cliffs, but the moment our headlights hit it, it turns and looks at us with its face. I don't know how else to describe it other than a mix between a bear's and a human's face. And it looks twisted and distorted and almost in pain. As we get closer to this thing, we start to realize it's actually fucking huge. Though it was still sitting on its haunches, it is about shoulder height with the hood of the truck. We got literally inches from it when it lets out this scream that sounds like someone screaming as their lungs were filling with water, and it leaps backwards towards the field, landing just on our side of the barbed wire fence. Then with another leap, it was gone from sight. Travis comes over the radio, "Holy shit, keep driving, we have to get out of here, we have to go faster." He kept repeating the last part, "We have to get out of here, we have to go faster." Pretty soon we are speeding like crazy, and just as we start to come near the outskirts of Gallup, we get pulled over. Travis pulls his truck over with us. Naturally, this makes the cop, a Navajo man himself, very on edge, and he immediately asks why Travis felt the need to pull over as well. Travis says, We just saw a skinwalker a few miles back and it's been following us. The officer immediately turns white, stammers something about a verbal warning, gets in his car and takes off. We do the same. We didn't see anything else that night, but when we got home, Travis refused to let us leave without taking some kind of Navajo totem thing that was supposed to keep it away.
Nice.
I've found like more scarier skinwalker stories before. I went on another person's podcast a few years ago, and I was able to tell like 2 or 3 different stories. And there was like one of a little boy. He was much older now, but he like recalled that he was playing ball with a kid, and his like grandpa's house was in the middle of the woods, and his grandpa was inside, and the little boy was outside just playing with a ball, and he accidentally threw it into the woods, and a child came out of the woods and started playing with him, and he was just smiling the entire time, didn't say any words, didn't do anything. And when like they were playing for a little bit, and then when the grandpa came back outside, he asked the boy, "Who are you playing with?" And the boy said, "Oh, this is my friend." And when he turned around, the kid was gone. And the grandpa knew immediately what he was playing with, and he told the kid to get back inside. And I was like, I got chills, because I was just like, that is horrifying.
Yeah.
And then there was another one where these other 2 kids were camping in the middle of the desert, and their mom was in a camper, and they were in a tent.
Yeah.
And they kept on hearing this like ticking sound on the side of their tent. It was like a gated, fenced-in area, but they like kept on hearing like clinking sound on the gate right outside of their tent. And they got out of their tent and walked over to the edge of the gate, and they saw their mom on the other side of the gate. And their mom was asking to be let in, but it didn't sound like their mom. It just looked like her.
Right.
And so they like freaked out and ran back to the camper and started banging on the door, and their mom answered the door. And so they were like, whoever we were talking to on the outside of the fence wasn't their mom. And then after that, also their grandparents owned that section of land. They like closed off that section of their land because they were like, no, not dealing with that.
Well, this one is called The Eerie Addict. So it's by another Reddit user. And so he says, "I don't believe in ghosts, but after all, no matter how a ghost story begins, it always hinges on the notion that, come on, of course we believe in ghosts. A few years ago, I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment in Melbourne, Australia," they went on to recall. "It was my first time living on my own. The apartment block had been built in the 1930s. I'd been there for a few months when I came home from work one day and went into the bathroom. I saw something strange, a wooden board which had covered a small hole in the ceiling that led to a small attic space. Lay fractured in 2 pieces on the ground. I examined the pieces. The board was an inch thick, and it would have taken Bruce Lee to break it. I thought the landlord had sent someone to work on the attic. I was frozen stiff with fear. Someone was up there for sure, I thought. I emailed pictures to the landlord asking if anyone had been there, with an undertone of annoyance since she hadn't warned me. Her reply read, 'Please call me as soon as you are able to.' I called, and she explained that her last 2 tenants had said the same thing happened. She promised to replace the board, and she did. A month later, I woke up one night around 4 a.m. My body was covered in goosebumps. It felt like someone was rubbing his or her hands on me. Everything was silent, but then I heard a dragging sound coming from above my bed. It was as if someone was pulling a sack of potatoes. I froze, convinced someone was up there. There is no way an animal could make that sound. After 5 minutes, I worked up the courage to turn on the light, armed myself with a cricket bat, and walked to the bathroom. That's when I saw that the new board covering the hole was broken in 2. I felt sick. The dragging sound had stopped, but I heard something else, whispering. The sound was clear and coming from the attic. It sounded like children's voices, and I could hear one sentence repeated over and over. It's your turn, it's your turn. I switched on every light in the apartment to make things feel normal. It was 5 a.m. and dark outside. I watched TV to try to unwind, then a fuse blew. My pet buggy, Dexter, whom I kept in the kitchen, usually never made a sound at night, but he started squawking like he was being strangled. I had never heard him make those sort of noises. He was screaming. I grabbed my car keys, ran out, and sat in my car and waited there till the sun came up. When I saw people walking their dogs, this comforted me to go back in. The front door was open, but I figured I might have forgotten to close it when I ran out. I went to the kitchen to check on Dexter, but he wasn't in his cage. I felt sick again. All of my windows were closed, so I looked everywhere inside. When I walked to the bathroom, I heard splashing. Dexter was half drowned in the toilet. I took him out, washed him, and dried him. I was so confused. At 8 a.m., I called the landlord and gave her a watered-down version of the night. "Oh wow, you heard the whispering too," she said. I stayed in that apartment for another 18 months. I heard the whispering on a few occasions, and twice the board covering the hole in the ceiling moved. Although I lived elsewhere now, the landlord recently called. She said that her new tenants had begged to speak with me about some of the stuff that's been going on there. Forget it. It's their problem now.
Just chose to stay there.
Just willingly was like, oh,
He was
whispers.
like, if it's my time, it's my time.
Ain't no way.
Yeah, no,
Ain't
no,
no
no,
way.
no, 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 no. I'm immediately moving.
His bird
I just can't.
literally died, and he's like, "I'll stay."
I might as well stay.
Uh,
See, that's that
As you
horror
will.
that's that horror movie logic.
I was like, oh, the color could be that way. I think I'm gonna go that way.
Imagine if it was the tenant just said,
Oh my gosh, there's blood on the walls. Man, I should really paint over that. Like, that's the type of energy that story.
I'm hearing screaming. Why don't I go see what it is?
I'm gonna go investigate that. Oh my gosh, maybe they need help.
"Let's go Scooby-Doo this bitch."
Basically, my God.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh, where are
I
people?
got one more story, and then that's all for our scary story time today, you folks. Got one more. Okay, this one's called "Don't Get Off the Bus."
That sounds like a heavy metal rock album.
Basically, okay. Anybody that has been on the Navajo reservation has either probably heard of some creepy things or have experienced pretty creepy things, namely skinwalkers. I have only seen one, and here is my story. I come from a small town in northern Arizona that's sandwiched between one reservation to the north and the U.S.'s largest Navajo reservation to the south. My high school, being so small, on average 80 students enrolled every year, always had to travel south about 5 to 10 hours one way to play another high school in any sport. This means that we traveled a lot on the Navajo res, and we also usually stayed at hotels when we would head out to play and come home in the morning, but this trip was a little bit different. I remember the basketball coach saying that the school didn't have enough money to put up the teams in a hotel that trip, so we were going to be on the road for a total of about 12 hours. I was the only male senior to play basketball that season. We had just got done playing our game and headed home on our bus, Big Blue. We were headed out, and it wasn't long, and about 2 hours of driving before we had entered the res. By this time, everyone was asleep, with it being about 2 in the morning. When we had crossed the res's border, I noticed the bus driver had sped up and was going about 85 miles per hour. I thought this was a little weird because he never exceeded the speed limit, at least not in my high school career. For some reason, I couldn't fall asleep like the rest of my teammates, and I just sat at the back of the bus staring across the desolate desert landscape that was lit up by the full moon. As I looked out, I could see a figure running towards the bus at an angle of pursuit and keeping up with the bus at 85 miles per hour. As this figure got closer, I saw that it was a humanoid form. As a matter of fact, it looked exactly like a human, only that the face was painted half black and half white, with glowing eyes like a rabbit's eyes, reflecting light from a spotlight. I immediately thought, holy crap, it's a skinwalker. The skinwalker ran up to the edge of the road and just kept up pace with the bus, hurdling sage bushes and rocks while staring at me. After I made eye contact with the thing, I could not look away. It was as if something was holding my head and eyes in place. The skinwalker just smiled at me, and this inhuman smile that went ear to ear, showing crooked yellow pointed teeth. I felt like I was going to throw up, and I was panicking through the whole ordeal. The skinwalker started to crumple down to all fours, still keeping up with the bus. I could see his bones crack and reform. The hair started appearing all over the skinwalker's body, and in about 3 seconds, the skinwalker was now a coyote, and it ran off back into the desert out of view. As soon as it was gone, I ran up to the onboard bathroom and puked a mixture of food and blood. I didn't want to tell anyone for fear they would think I was crazy. I confided in my Navajo friend. She told me that I need to see the chief, who also happened to be a friend of mine, and get a blessing. I saw him the next school day in the parking lot. He just came up to me and mumbled something in Navajo while waving a feather scepter-like thing, turned around, got in his truck, and drove away. To this day, I haven't seen another skinwalker, it might be due to the fact that I moved from that town and res, and if I do have to go south, I go around, way around. Now, like I said, I'm obsessed with these stories, so
Skinwalkers in general.
yes, I know.
Nah.
Mm-hmm. I just it's the culture of it, it's the idea of it. It just it's so creepy. It's so creepy. I love it. But yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Well, that wraps up a very short episode 7, but honestly, I think it's a little bit nice change of pace. Nothing too big.
We don't
this
want to
time.
intrude on you guys.
Yeah, and also we're back now, so we're just trying to get back in the hang of things. So start off small. Wednesday we'll obviously a bigger podcast, sports, theater, and whatever else we want to talk about on that day. But yeah,
A lot has happened in the sports world.
Yep, a good amount has. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to shout us out to your friends, family, whoever wants to hear a nice little podcast. And I hope you guys enjoyed this more Halloweenish type episode. But yeah, guys.
Scary stories.
Mm-hmm.
Any more?
That's a wrap on our spooky story time. But yeah.
Alrighty.
I hope to see you all later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.